And nobody wants to follow a leader whose motto is me first. So the rest of the world, is now, some countries are trying to step up and fill the vacuum. So in climate change, now China is becoming or tries to depict itself as the leader of the world in trying to combat climate change. But then in other areas, it's definitely not like that. So in this moment of real crisis in human history, we find the world without a leader. And this is something that people in the US can do more about than in any other place, because still the US is kind of the almost natural leader for humanity, because it is still the most powerful country in the world. Other countries, of course, have to step in, and it would be good to have a world which is less unipolar, when we can't just trust a single country to do everything all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
But there is still a huge disparity in powers between the different parts of the world. That's still the case.
Yeah, definitely. But I do like that point you made there, even though it's a subtle point, is that ultimately, if we live in that belief that this country is the most powerful and they're going to solve everything, then we also kind of just debilitate ourselves.
Yep.
And we just go, oh, well, if they're not going in the right direction, or wait for them to go in the right direction. And actually what we all need to do, in my opinion, is pull our socks up and get stuck in, because I'm not a big fan of the victim mentality or the mentality of waiting for someone else to solve a crisis. It's like if your house is on fire, you don't wait for your mom or your dad to fix it. You get involved too, right? And so if we believe that there's a crisis, or even if we don't believe there's a crisis, but we believe things are not going in the right direction, I would want everyone from every country, whether it's India, whether it's Australia, whether it's across Europe, to step in and take action.
And in that sense, actually, the one good thing that comes out, or could come out, of the current retreat of the United States from the position as leader of the world is that it kind of forces other countries and other people to step in.
Yes.
And I hope this will happen.
Yeah, good. We have the same hope.
Yeah.
We have the same hope. I love this. Okay, great. So we've kind of gone from happiness and inside to global macro viewpoints. I want to go back inwards again. And this is actually from a couple of days ago. I read somewhere that when Tim Cook was speaking at the Time 100 Summit, an event that happened this week, he was speaking about how if you're spending more time looking at a screen than in someone else's eyes, then
you have a problem.
You have a problem.
And we have a problem.
You're getting things wrong.
Yeah.
And I know
that's a good line.
Yeah, it's a very good line. And you also said that, you said that it's so much easier now to connect with your cousin in Switzerland than it is with your husband, because he's always looking at his phone at breakfast. You did write that down. It is out there. You did say it. So walk me through that addiction. We spoke a bit about the excitement we get from the phone, the addiction we have from the phone. But how have you seen people overcome that?
Yeah, part of it is also that when you connect with somebody through a phone or through a screen, again, it's easier to deal with the problematic stuff because you can just shut the phone once it becomes problematic. And with a real person, you can't do that. So it like real relationships forces you, again, it's like the boredom thing. They force you to deal with the difficult issues. And part of the attraction of all these online communities and online relationships and virtual relationships is that once a difficulty arises, you can just immediately disappear. Like you can unfriend your Facebook friends in a way that you can't unneighbor your real neighbors. If you live in a house and just this annoying family just moved in and the kids are making a lot of noise in the middle of the night, and you can't just say, okay, I'll press a button and they'll disappear from my life.
Can you imagine that? Eject, delete, yeah.
Unneighbor.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like it. So you need to develop these social skills. Okay, what do I do? Okay, I'll go there and I knock on their door with a cake or something, and I'll try to have a nice conversation, and I'll somehow make them understand that I need to sleep and they should keep their kids more quiet or something.
Yeah.
But it forces you to develop these social skills And that's extremely important, and we are losing these skills. I mean, the more time, again, you spend watching screens than watching eyes, you are in this sense kind of downgrading some of our human abilities. I've just seen this wonderful presentation by Tristan Harris, who is this tech philosopher from Silicon Valley, and he just had this wonderful presentation about how technology is basically downgrading humans, downgrading human skills, like what to do when you have a problem with your neighbors.
Right. So actually, instead of technology upgrading us, it's downgrading our human skills.
Yeah, we upgrade our phones all the time, but inadvertently it downgrades a lot of our social and personal skills.
Yeah. And which ones do you think are the biggest ones that we're losing? So one of them is, deleting our neighbors, and yeah, I completely agree with you. What are the other ones that we're losing out on that we can be aware of? So anyone who's listening and watching right now, how can they become more aware of the types of skills we're losing? Because sometimes I don't think it's as obvious to us, because everyone's on their phone. Our careers are now digital.
Yeah.
We just talked about AI and the rise of technology in every area of our lives, whether it's work, health. Like your dentist now wants you to use a toothbrush that can notify them when something goes wrong in your tooth, right?
Yeah.
So it's like all parts of our lives are becoming automated and systemic. So how can we become more aware of the skills we're losing, or which ones are those top skills that we're losing?
Well, many of the top skills are social, of dealing with other people. So another example, which is now gets a lot of attention, and there is a lot of talk about this, is all the issue of filter bubbles.
Okay.
That people kind of lock them, or even inadvertently, the algorithms, the Facebook algorithms, the Twitter algorithms, the YouTube algorithm that gets to know us, increasingly show us videos or articles or opinions which are aligned with our own opinions. And we think that the entire world thinks like me. Like, I don't know, I'm a Democrat and I don't know any Republicans, and I never see any Republican videos, and then when Trump wins the election, I can't understand, how could it be? There are no Republicans, so who voted for him? It's all the people not in your filter bubble who voted for him. And what we are losing is the ability to engage with opinions, with people who think differently from us. Now, one crude way of trying to fix that at least some corporations like Facebook tried to do, is every now and then show you an article from a different side of the political spectrum. But this didn't work, because it only made people even more angry, because it wasn't in a situation when you can really engage with the people behind it. Like, you have your view in the world, and you read something from another perspective, and you become very angry. Who are these stupid people who think like that? And it actually made things even worse. Now again, a century ago, if you lived in some small town, then the situation was such that you all the time encountered people who think differently from you, because the community was made of different viewpoints, and you had to develop these skills of how to engage with and how to cooperate. And part of what technology is doing is that it downgrades these skills, and it makes life easier.
Yeah.
And it's all these things which are difficult and uncomfortable to do, like having a real conversation with somebody who thinks differently.